Hello, everyone. Now, in the previous presentations, we have discussed various issues related to the industrial safety management. Now, in this presentation, we are going to discuss about the behavior-based safety at workplace. So, as we all know that nowadays, the behavior is a main factor and it is important factor to avoid the incidents or accidents. Because the statistical data also says that due to behavioral differences, the accident number is more. So if you reduce the behavior issues, then you can eliminate or reduce the number of accidents in the industries, as well as on the roadside. So that is why we must discuss what exactly the behavior-based approach, what are their techniques, how to control that, how to treat that, how to train that, etc. So let us discuss behavior-based safety at workplace. So from this picture, you can understand what exactly the behavior is. So these two pictures clearly indicating that the target or the objective is one, but one employee is starting the points from these ladders. That is the simple procedure and a safe procedure, but that may consume more time as compared to the second option. But the second option is unsafe act. So that is why we have to observe, we have to inspect such behaviors from the different employees. So that behavior may be from the new employee, that may be from the experienced ones also, because sometimes the overconfidence peoples are adopting such ways. Nowadays also you can observe that in the COVID-19 pandemic situations, the government is always saying that you have to wear mask, you have to keep the social distancing, and you have to use the sanitizer or hand wash. But still, many of people are not following these practices. So this is nothing but the simple examples of behavior. So why these people are behaving like this and how to control this behavior in the industry. So what exactly the BBS is? So on the basis of this behavior, to control this wrong behavior, we have to go for the behavior-based safety aspect. So nowadays in industries, in some of the large-scale industries, BBS is a separate department, or under the BBS, there are certain employees who are working, who are studying, who are training the different peoples or the employees in that industry. So BBS is the application of science of behavior change to real-world safety problems, or a process that creates a safety partnership between the management and the employees. So that continuously focuses people's attentions and actions on theirs and others' daily safety behavior. So it is a mutual understanding between the employer and the employees. So top management always going to decide some policies, some strategies, and that policies and strategies should be followed by the employee. So in case due to some behavior issues, if that is not going to follow, and if some incident, near miss or accident is happen, then we can understand what exactly the importance of BBS is. As it is a very core BBS, is based on a large scientific field, it is called as organizational behavior management. So we have to manage the behavior of the employees which are in the organizations. So we can't control the behavior of all the common people. So our focus is to control the behavior of only the employee which are under that organizations. In a safety management system, based upon the hierarchy of hazard control, BBS may be applied to internalize hazard avoidance strategies, or it is applicable to the administrative control. So we can't control each and everything with the legal references or standard something, but we can apply these BBS aspects into the internal hazard avoidance strategies, or it is also called as administrative controls. So with reference to this administrative control or with reference to these hazard avoidance strategies, we can apply these BBS aspects. The other definitions or the concept for this BBS is, the BBS is an approach to applying behavioral psychology to encourage safety in the workplace. So now we are going to focus on the safety, we are going to focus on the behavior, and that is why psychology is the important term. So we have to control this behavioral psychology to encourage the safety in that workplace, that is also called as BBS. It is based on the promise that most accidents are caused by unsafe behavior. So statistical data also indicates that more than 90% accidents are occur due to the unsafe behavior, unsafe act. A typical program involves a systematic process to identify the behaviors that contribute to most accidents and then define the safe practices necessary to reduce injury rates. So that is called as job safety analysis or JSA. So we have to study a systematic approach, a systematic process to identify these behaviors and the contribution to the most of the accidents. So what are the causes of most of the accidents? Then with reference to that causes, we have to identify the behavioral aspects or unsafe behavior, unsafe facts, and then we have to plan a particular systematic process or a systematic procedure to avoid the repetition of the same accidents. So this is a data which I have already discussed, that 90% of the accidents happen due to unsafe act. So we have to focus on this unsafe act so that in prevention, maintenance, and injury investigations, the human-machine environment interaction is often the critical tool used by the safety professionals in the evaluation of safety-related programs. So we all know that these things are necessary in the industry, in the production, in the manufacturing, in all types of operations which are involved under the organizations. So incorporating BBS in the work environment provides the opportunity to decrease the injuries. So our main target is to decrease the injury, to decrease the accident, to decrease the number of accidents, to decrease the severity of the accident, etc. So anytime there is an interaction between human-machine environment, the possibility for injury will always exist, and the likelihood of an injury due to human error has the potential to be less substantial. So if there is always human-machine environment, so always there is a possibility for injury, possibility for accident, possibility for near miss, etc. But with reference to the proper behavioral approach, we have to reduce that potential, we have to reduce that hazard, we have to reduce that risk, and that is nothing but the BBS is. So sometimes some experts saying that these are the main three traditions of these BBSs, that is safety, that is from the systems, then psychology from the people, and the management, that is the culture. So if there is a system where the safety procedure, safety operating procedures are followed and it is in the exist, and if the people with their proper psychology is following all these SOPs, then obviously from the management point of view, the safety culture is prepared. So if there is a safety culture in your industry, obviously, again, the load on the BBS is less. The less number of accidents, less number of injuries are there where the safety culture is there. Then if you observe the BBS study implementation or execution part, then there are three phases. That is, the first is observation, second is documentation and measurement, and third one is feedback. So if you observe the unsafe acts, unsafe behavior from the different persons, that may be a supervisory level, that may be a expertise person, that may be a cross-department person, or that may be a third person, whatever it may be. And whatever you observe, whatever you inspected, that should be documented first. So in the particular company, in the particular department, in that particular operation, this person is doing this thing, and it is unsafe act or unsafe behavior, or who is not following the safe operating procedure, which are already exist in that department or in that company. So whatever the observation is that, so that should be documented first, and then you can measure also. So sometimes you can measure some of the things, sometimes you can't measure some of the things. So for example, if there is a high voltage line is there, and you have to ask that you should follow all these things. But if it is not the case, then you have to measure that voltage. If someone or the expert person asks you to wear these type of PP, that may be a respiratory or non-respiratory PP for this particular type of operations, then you have to mention that activity also, that in these operations or in the oxygen deficient atmosphere or in the confined spaces, these people are not wearing the respiratory type of personal protective equipment. And without that, they are going to operate these things. So all the things should be mentioned first, and then you have to train that people, and you have to ask that people why you are not following these practices. Is there any issues? Is there any problem with the PP, or is there any problem with their unsafe behavior? So whatever it may be, you have to analyze these things, and then you have to give the feedback to the senior persons or to the management people that these are the problems related to these PPs, related to these SOPs, related to these standard practices, and we have to rectify or modify these things. So the some things like observations. So there are number of avenues that can be taken to identify the behaviors, like the past OSHA 300 injury logs, that may be a employee complaints, that may be a workers compensation claims, that may be a employee surveys, that may be a direct observation with a customized behavioral checklist. So there are different avenues or the aspects where we can understand the observation can be done through these points. And there are some other points also, depending on the local condition, we have to design what exactly the parameters or elements should be considered under these observations. Then there are some design team maybe formed in that organizations to represent of supervision and safety departments. So while supervision of this particular design team in the organizations, so some points may be followed, like how to observe unsafe practices or acts and to design observation criteria for this. Then coaching process to give brief guidelines to improve safety behaviors, to eliminate, to reduce these unsafe acts. Then plan to use data of observations regarding unsafe act. Plan to support the process of improvement, that is motivation for target. Plan training if still required, then plan for maintaining the process. So these are the different aspects under this design team. If it is applicable and if it is required, then for the observation purpose, for the inspection purpose, for the supervision purpose, you can use or refer these points. That may be unsafe practices, that may be some safety behavior guidelines, coaching, that may be a unsafe act observations, data, that may be a improvement or motivation procedures, that may be a training, or all the maintaining the processes. Then what exactly the BPS approach? So for this BPS approach, that can be proceed from the following points, like observing unsafe behaviors or acts of the workers in the organization and collecting the data, defining a set of model behavior to reduce the unsafe act. So you can ask, you can give the examples of a particular person, of a particular act, or of a particular operations, that you should follow this particular role model, or you should follow this particular SOP, or you should follow these standard practices or safe practices, like that. Then to give short duration training to workers regarding their unsafe facts, management observations, and explaining the safe model behaviors. So in case, if you think that you can train that people in within 10 to 15 minutes or 30 minutes, you can give that particular training immediately. If you think that you have to train many people in that department or in that company, then you have to plan the training. Then observing new improved behaviors and recording their consistency and frequency. So after the training, what exactly the changes are occurred in that particular safe behavior or unsafe behavior, that should be observed first. And then you have to decide again the next step of the improvement. Getting feedback and supporting new behaviors. So data collected is used for recognition, problem solving, and continuous improvement. So the continuous improvement in the behavior aspect is the main objective. So for that purpose, we have to rectify continuously. We have to plan, we have to replan, we have to change the planning, we have to change the training contents, we have to change the training mode, etc., whatever it may be, but we have to achieve the continual improvement in the safe behaviors. Then how to manage these behavioral based study concepts. So there are some techniques. So design team. So we have already discussed this, that design team of selected worker to record the observations, develop the support materials, and provide the training. That is one of the technique. Second one is identify the elements or targets and decide steps to focus on each of them. Then organize the full day meeting instead of 1 or 2 hours meeting to plan the process after full discussions. So we have to give the explanation on a micro level basis, not the macro level basis. Because after the micro level observations and micro level adverse impact on the health, that may be conversion into the accident or near miss, etc. So what exactly the process should be and what you are doing. So all the things should be explained in the full day discussion. Design own steps instead of copying the same from other companies, because each and every step and all the SOPs can't be implemented or applied to the particular operation, to the particular equipment, or to a particular process in your company, because the person's behavior, the person's nature, and some different parameters are also variant in that company's manpower and in your company's manpower. So if the behavior or the nature of the person is different, so we can't apply the same steps to the particular company, or we can copy paste that SOPs or that behavioral aspects. So we have to design our own steps for that modifications. Do not waste time to complete training of all workers. Start implementation after training some 20% workers and continue training for others. Thus, the time cycle will begin soon to observe the results. Then avoid unnecessary training of team members. Those who are already trained need not require training. So we have to identify the persons who needs training. If the person is already following all the things, they are not going to do some unsafe acts or unsafe behaviors, then there is no need of training. So these are the different management techniques. So this is one of the part that is main focus is on the training. So under this training, observations, feedback, and positive interventions are the main components. So this picture clearly gives you the idea. If the implementation of BBS is good, then obviously the rate of accident is reduced. Then there is another concept that is called as individual differences. So it is related to the behavior only. And now we are going to discuss the different aspects or the concept related to the behavior only. So appearances and traits as height, strength, intelligence, ability of work, memory, speed of reacting a signal, honesty, stability, and the mental traits, personality traits, second sensory capacities, muscular coordination, etc. are some of the factors of these individual differences. So from this factor, you can understand there are individual differences. So how these individual differences or the differences are classified? So generally it is individual variables and situational variables. So under the individual variables, so it is related to the individual only, that is aptitudes, personality characteristics, physical characteristics, interest and motivation, and age. So age wise, the difference or the nature may be different, behavior may be different, depending on the motivation and interest of your work. That difference is again different. And if some persons are having good aptitude, good logical reasoning, then good thinking process, good practices, etc., then that variants are different one. The second one is situational variable. So that situational variable is called as environmental factors. So that is depends on the workplace variables or the organizational and social variables. So this is subdivided into 2 points. So under the workplace variables, physical environment, workplace and arrangement, design and conditions of work, equipment, and methods of work. So these are the different variables which can be covered under workplace variables. And under the organizational and social variables, the character of the organization, type of training and supervision, type of incentives and social environment are the different variables. So this is the classification of the differences. Then the next point is perception of danger and risk. So understanding the risk is important part as far as this behavior is concerned. And then what exactly the danger may be into that particular unsafe act or unsafe behavior. So understanding the risk and how it is perceived is a crucial step towards creating problems, programs, campaigns to raise awareness and make communities and workplace safer. So our main target is to have a safer workplace. A survey asking for general definitions of risk would probably reveal the most people have a basic understanding of what risk means and may be able to provide an example of what they consider risky behavior. So there are many scientists and research scholars who are studying the different aspects, especially from the different persons. So mainly they are asking about what exactly the risk is and what is the risky behavior is, why you are going to behave like this, and etc. So there are multiple questions, and from this research, the unreliable evidences tell us that, however, that there is no universal conception of risk or how much risk is inherent in certain activities. So from the different companies, from the different peoples, from the different nature of the people, the risk is different and the activities may be the different. So we can't exactly tell us that particular risk is that and risky behavior is that, and we have to do these practices only. So the wide array of opinions on what is it and what is not. High risk means that some individuals are more prone to placing themselves in hazardous situations and often putting others in the harm's way. So this is like the now current situations, that in the COVID-19 pandemic situations, some people are overconfident, some people are careless, and they are not going to follow all these SMS practices. And that is why they are accepting the risk as well as they are throwing the other peoples in that risk also. So this is the risky behavior for that person as well as for the other persons who are in the periphery of that persons. So that is the perception of danger and risk. So different persons have different degree of perception of danger and risk. Sometimes some people are not going for the higher risk. Some people are accepting the lower level risk and like that. So different persons have different degree of perceptions. Due to the individual differences, capacity of understanding and identifying the hazard different. So While crossing the highway, one person may have correct judgment of the chances of accident, looking to the distance and speed of the vehicles coming from the sides, but it is not the same case for the other persons. Some persons are having these inherent characteristics or in their mindset that this is the exact judgment of that particular speed and crossing time. But this is not the case for each and every person. So different workers have different of opinion or judgment regarding the hazard arising out of moving machinery or risk from chemicals. Then important is the response time required for the quick action to protect ourselves or others from the danger of risk. So if in case any person is going for this particular type of risky behavior, then you have to take a quick action. That is the main point. So as we know that now in this situation also, if you take the quick action within 5 days on this COVID, then you can easily recover from that particular disease. Like that, in these dangers and risk also, you have to take the quick actions depending on that situations. So slow response times indicates more chances of accidents and vice versa. Safety training can help to improve ability of good perceptions of danger and risk and help to minimize the accidents. So training is one of the major element to improve these abilities of this risk behavior. So these are some of the example, what exactly the perception of risk is. So this is simple example, daily life example, that is banana skin lying on the road. So what exactly the chance, frequency, or the probabilities from the risk point of view. So 2 persons falling on the road out of 100% passing per hour. So that is the experimental data. So from this point of view, you can calculate the risk as 2 into 10 raised to minus 2. So that is 100 means 10 raised to minus 2 per hour. So that is the risk. What exactly the severity or the consequences? One person gets head injury, one person gets leg injury. So that is the severity or the consequence of this banana skin lying on the road. So this is the hazard. This is the chance, frequency, or the probability of the risk, and this is the severity of the risk. So likewise, you can go through the different examples like broken ladders, then running pulley belt without guard, then platform without railing at height, open or loose electric wiring, etc. And these are the different risks like 4 into 10 raised to minus 3, 2 by 3 into 10 raised to minus 1, 1 into 10 raised to minus 3, 1 into 10 raised to minus 1, then head injury, hand injury, leg injury, waist injury, crush injury, etc. All are these severities, right? So these are the different examples of the perception of risk. Then perception of danger and acceptance of risk knowledge. So the person who is accepting that particular danger or that risk and on the basis of that knowledge, that is another part. But for that purpose, you should refer the definition of risk from the National Safety Council. A measure of the probability and severity of adverse effects. A measure of the probability and the severity of the adverse effects. So that is the simple definition of the risk as per as the NSC is concerned. So understanding this risk and how it is perceived is a crucial step toward the creating programs and campaigns to raise the awareness and make communities and workplace safer. In short, risk perception or the ability to discern risk is tied to risk tolerance or an individual capacity to accept a certain amount of risk. And then there are different factors of risk perception and tolerance. So that factors may be a macro factor, that may be a meso factor, or that may be a micro factor. So these are the different factors, and the examples of these macro factor is the level refers to the factors that is institutional or structural in nature. So if that factor is institutional or structural, then it is a macro factor. If a peer-to-peer or community level factor is there, then it is called as meso factor. and at individual psychological level factor is there, then it is called as micro level. So micro means at individual level, meso means at community level, and macro means at institutional level. So that depends on the nature or the behavior of the employees who are present in that particular organizations. So this behavior as a function of self and situations. So there are multiple factors. On that basis, the safety performance may differ, and that is why it is also called as differences affecting the safety performance. So on the basis of different factors like physiological factors. So this is one of the factor. So the safety performance depends on this one of the factor, and this physiological factor is nothing but the physiological fitness, right? So the factors under these physiological factors are maximum oxygen uptake capacity. So nowadays, this factor is very important. If you are inhaling or your SpO2 level is more than 93, then you are safe. If your SpO2 level is more than 95, then you are in the green zone. But if the level is less than 93, then it is in the red zone. You have to take the treatment, you have to visit the hospital or the clinic. So likewise, there are other factors, sex, male or female, then bodybuilding, then age, weight, muscular work, posture, clothing, nutrition, training and skill, sickness or diseases, environmental heat load or strain, occupational workload, and physiological fatigue measured by the STEP test. So there are different tests to test these fatigues, to test this physiological fitness. So there may be a simple test like STEP test tool. So there is a simple stool is there, and we have to up and down the legs, and then we have to check the pulse rate of ourselves. If the pulse rate is recovered within less time, then you are fit as compared to the other person like this. So there are multiple methods or the test which are covered under these physiological factors. Then there may be a psychological factor. So under this psychological factor, there are different parameters like sensory motor ability, perceptual good ability, knowledge, responsibility, emotional instability, frustration, work experiences. So all these factors are related to the psychology of that persons. And if the psychology is disturbed due to these one or more than one factors, then again the safety performance is going to decrease. Then physical situational factors, under that physical workload and stress, that may be a case nowadays on the pharmaceutical industries, on the chemical industries, the people are working for more than 8 hours due to this workload and due to the situations, because some of the employees are positives, and that is why the workload is distributed to the available employees. So that may be one of the situational factor. So like this, there are number of parameters like working hours, work design, tool and equipment design, hazardous nature and pollution of chemicals like splashes, spillage, gases, dust, fumes, vapors, etc. Then directly connected with the work, nature of job, and ergonomic factors. So if above situations are inconvenient or injurious to the health or polluting atmosphere, then they may lead to the accidents, danger, or risk. So we have to check whether the environmental conditions, whether that working environment is good or not. And if you can control that situations, then first of all, you must control these things to avoid the accidents. Then there is next factor, that is environmental factors. So the environmental factor like temperature, if the temperature is more, then you can't comfortably work in that environment. If temperature is less, then also you can comfortably work for that. So that is why that comfortable temperature zone is given, and normally in and around 25 degrees Celsius, we are comfortable always for the working conditions. Then ventilations. So the ample amount of air and the circulation of air should be there for the ventilation purpose. Sufficient light or illumination should be provided in that industry. The noise level should be less than 85 decibels as an time-weighted average. The vibration should be less. Humidity should be appropriate. Thermal or nuclear radiation should be less or should not be there. And then poor housekeeping may be the issue, and some acts of God is always there. These are the natural characteristics or natural environmental factors. So it is also experienced that too hot or too cold temperature, high wind velocity, high noise vibrations, darkness, humidity, radiation, etc. cause accidents. Good light, color, music, temperature, ventilations, and good housekeeping tend to reduce the accidents. So these are the different environmental factors. So some environmental factors we can control, some we can't. So there may be some psychological test. So various psychological tests have been developed and applied to the detect above mentioned factors and their corrections. So whatever the factors are there, what we have discussed to check the safety performance through these factors. So there may be a psychological test. Through this test, we can conclude that this is our requirement, this is our corrective actions, and this is our future plan to modify, to correct for the continual improvement in the safety behavior. Then there are different theories which are available for the motivation purpose. Because if you want to improve the safe behavior of that employee, then we have to motivate that employees in either way. So there are different theories. We can't discuss each and every theory in the single presentation. That is why I have listed only these different theories like Hawthorne studies behavioral approach, then Maslow's and McGregor's hierarchy theory for human needs. That may be a need satisfaction of safe performance. Then ERG theory, that is existence, related and growth theory. Then Hasberg's and Myers theory, that is related to the motivation hygiene theory. Then Peterson's behavior model, that is motivation, reward, satisfaction model. And Room's valence or expectancy theory. Then McGregor's XY theory and goal setting theories. So these different theories are discussed by the different scientists on their experimental models and their different surveys and studies. And with the help of this theory, we have to motivate these people depending on the situations. So sometimes the behavior of that person is the issue. Sometimes there may be an issue related to the payments. Sometimes the issues related to the satisfaction of that work. Sometimes the issues related to the promotions. Sometimes it is related to the biased nature of the management or the employer. Sometimes it is related to the industrial hygiene aspects. And sometimes it is related to the more expectations by that employee, etc. So number of reasons may be there, but there are a lot of theories are available. With the help of these theories, with reference to these theories, you can go for the improving the motivations of that employees. Then what exactly the role of safety management, supervisors and safety department in these motivations? So the safety management, supervisors and safety department have to identify first what exactly the parameters are. And on the basis of these parameters, they have to improve the particular thing or the situations. So first thing is identifications. So insist of adequate sensory motor abilities, appropriate muscular perceptual speed or right perceptual style, free from accident proneness, disease and habit of intoxication, appropriate age, sex, experience, work habits, and good safety records. So we have to think of all these parameters, and then we have to provide that particular work to that particular person only, so that the work satisfaction is there and the appropriate safety practices can be followed by that persons. By induction trainings for the new workers should be given, and that safety instruction and different training aspects related to the hazards and their control measures should be discussed to build the confidence level in that new worker. Then schedule for above training should be properly designed related to these hazardous material. Then different SOPs, safety tools, how to use these safety equipments, and what exactly the safety work permit systems are, what is MSDS, what are the meanings of these different labels, signs, and signals which are used in the industry. Then the different rules of transportations, loading, unloading, and role of the workers, firefighting measures, firefighting operations, on-site emergency plan, off-site emergency plan, etc. So all the things which are related to the hazard, risk, accident, treatment, controlling method, etc. should be discussed by the safety department or the supervisor of the safety management to the employees. Then company's safety and health policy should be discussed. We have already discussed the safety and health policy in the previous lecture. So all the contents, what are exactly the targets, how to achieve that goals or the targets, that should be instructed or communicated to all the employees. And with the help of these proper methods, we can also reduce the accidents. This will bring belongingness and togetherness. Workers should be encouraged to participate in safety committees, safety suggestions, and all safety programs. So if the workers are motivated to communicate or to participate in different activities related to the safety, then obviously the behavior is also going to change. Obviously, they can follow the safe procedures and they can follow the safe behavior also. So there are less chances of unsafe behavior or unsafe acts. Then team spirit, competitiveness should be built up so that due to this teamwork, due to the team practices and the different skills they can share along with them, the unsafe practices can be noticed, can be reduced in the team itself. So there is no necessity of the supervision by the third persons. So that team members can insist for the safe behavior, for the safe practices. Then proper attention should be paid for the basic needs of health, safety, and welfare facilities, because some of the employees, if they are not having these facilities, they may disturb, they may frustrate, and again, they can go for the different unsafe behavior or the unsafe practices. Then good housekeeping, lighting, ventilation, temperatures, different facilities should be provided. The other hazards can be reduced, and that can also improve your safe behavior. Then excessive workload, working hours, overtime work, or work on the holidays should be avoided or minimized. Sufficient rest intervals should be given. Statutory provisions should be followed. These all prevent physical and mental fatigue. So if there is no fatigue or less fatigue, less frustration, less conflict, then obviously the safety performance is better and better. Then exploitation of any kind should be avoided. So we have already discussed that more than 8 hours time for the working, or if there is no payment on a regular basis, or less payment, less promotions, less increment, etc. So if these are the factors, then there may be a chances of unsafe behavior or unsafe act. So supervisor have to communicate, have to recommend to the top management to take the timely decisions for increments, promotions, and other monetary benefits to the workers, so that financial satisfaction is the main satisfactor under this motivation concept. Then job rotation is one of the factor. So if you rotate the job in a particular time, then that reduces the load, that gives the satisfaction also. Then introduce change in job. If monotony is observed, then also it gives us the different responsibilities, different work area, different work environment, and that reduce the fatigue psychologically. Then insist of man-machine matching. That is another thing, that is designing the machines, tools, equipment, control, and situations, which is more convenient to the people. So if heighted peoples are there, then with reference to that height, with reference to that weight, with reference to that physical fitness of that person, if you are designing this called as working station, then it is also gives us the benefits for the safe behavior, which reduces the accidents. Then there are opportunity of advancement for R&D work, new product, new market, new safety devices, diversification and delegation of more powers should be given to the deserving workers. So this is another motivation. If that person is applicable for the R&D work, for the new product, etc. So whatever the skills are there in that particular worker, that should be observed by the supervisor or the management person, and that task should be given to that employee so that work satisfaction is more. If the satisfaction is more, obviously the behavior is good, and again the accident rate is less. So bureaucratic or dictatorship behavior retards the motivations. So we have to avoid this bureaucratic nature or the dictatorship in the organizations. Then the next concept is conflict and frustration. So conflict, we all know, it is defined as a violent collision, a struggle or contest, a mental struggle, etc. In industries, conflicts of both the types, that may be a physical and mental, occurs, and conflict reduces the productivity. So we have to avoid these physical conflicts or the mental conflicts so that the production rate, the continual improvement in the safety performance must be there. So we have to avoid these conflicts. So this conflict may arise due to the attitude, jealousy, bad behavior, working conditions or environment, power mongering, labor relations, favoritisms, etc. So number of factors are there due to which conflict may occur in the industries. So to reduce these conflicts, provide all necessary and better tools, equipments, guards, safety devices, safety clothing, protective equipment, welfare facilities for safe, healthy, and satisfactory environment. So if you provide all these facilities which are needed by that employer, needed by that worker, then there are less chances of conflicts. Conflicts may occur between the employer and contract worker also, if the latter are not considered at part with the company's employees in respect of providing the safety equipment, training, and other facilities. So if there is a bias between the contractor and the regular employees, then there are chances of conflict again. So therefore, facilities of the safety, health, and welfare and working hours should be equally given to the contract worker, which is equal to the employees or the regular employees which are on the roll. Similarly, the safety committee's meeting should not become a platform for the conflicts. Safety is not a matter of dispute or the conflict. Difference of opinion may be there. We can understand that, we can accept that, we have to listen that. And if the valid suggestions or valid points are there, then we have to incorporate these points into our planning. So there may be some situations where conflict may be there. So some examples are there. Supervisor, that is a boss, and favoring one group. So if the supervisor is favoring one group and disfavoring another group, then there is a chance of conflict. So identification is try to find out the labor unrest, find difference, identify the output of these two groups, then how to do the management. So remove the reasons, change supervisor if necessary, and supervisor explain the different behavior if he is justified. So this is our observation or the situations. Situation may be wrong, or whatever the communication, that may be a wrong. So we have to identify, we have to analyze what exactly the things are. And that is why we have to take the quick action as early as possible. So this is the simple example of the supervisors favoring one group and disfavoring another. Then wage differences for same and similar type of work. That is another example. Settlement with workers delayed. Then union rivalry, disciplinary actions against workers, then go slow, strike, non-cooperation, labor unrest. These are the different situations where from we can understand and we have to take the quick actions. So all these actions are given in this table. Please go through that. Then another part is frustrations. So frustration means defeat or disappointment towards the success. Any interference with the achievements of goal cause frustrations. Characteristics of the frustrated behavior are suggestions, regression, fixation, or resignation, and it depends upon the individual tolerance, work pressure, and situations. So each and every person by nature is different one, and that is why due to the situations, due to the frustrations, the action may be different one. So some people are giving the resignation due to these frustrations. Some people are under pressure and they are working under pressure. That may be a behavior. Some people are taking some actions. That is the reactions. So depending on that nature. If worker meets an accident with a power press machine, he becomes nervous to operate it, and this may result in repeating the accidents. So that is one of the examples of that repetitions. By providing the effective guard and explaining him about its proper use, his frustration can become gradually reduced or removed. So that is depending on the person's nature, depending on the trainer, depending on the facilities provided, we can try to reduce the frustrations. So frustration brings moral degradation, which in turn increases accident rate. So if the frustration is continued, then there are chances of accidents. So that frustration person respond in two ways, that is adaptive response, and second is maladaptive response. Adaptive response means the person is going to accept that situation and substituted goal, right? So accepting nature, that is one of the frustrated response. And second one is the maladaptive response, that is the person is not going to accept that situations. So the person may continue trying to reach that unattainable goal, or he may give up trying to reach any goal whatsoever. He may show withdrawal response, attack response, limitation response, or substitutional response. So the reaction may be a different one, like withdrawing, attacking, limitations, or substitutions. So these are the different two types of responses due to the frustrations. So Scott pronounced this activations theory. Human organisms needs simulation and variety of work, and that is why we have to change our environment, working environment, rotations, our job, motivations, or goals, etc. And that is why this Scott recommends that you have to change your behavior, you have to change the nature, you have to change the working conditions, you have to change the different tools and equipments, or we have to go for the different PPs. And if the PPs or guards are not provided in that part, then you have to use your own thoughts. You have to protect ourselves and don't go for that frustration. Otherwise, there may be a chance of frustration due to not providing these facilities, not giving the promotions, increment recognitions, or the status. So all such dissatisfying factor should be detected in time, and appropriate remedial measures, including management functions, should be adopted. So this is the table which gives us the idea that is frustrating situations and remedial measures. So this is situations that is increasing accidents to an individual. So identification is check job or machine condition, check surrounding space, light, study type of tool equipment, study work method, study his behavior. These are the identifications. And the management is remove the defect, improve them, use ergonomic design, standard tool, equipment, and correct it, employ psychologist, and make his advice. So depending on the situation and identification, management is going to go for the different steps. So likewise, different situations like work quantity, excessive work quality is not obtained in spite of good efforts, etc. are given in this table. Please go through it. So frustration and techniques of management, we have already discussed in that table. So there are some reasons of frustrations like frustration, irritations, and annoyance. Frustration may be a threat and conflict, and the conflict conditions may be conflict between the two desirable alternatives, maybe two undesirable alternatives, or that may be a simultaneous desirable and undesirable alternatives. So the frustration process is studies by Noz, how to conquer your frustrations. And that is one of the research paper. So I have mentioned this summary of that frustration process. So frustration exists when our wants, wishes, and desires get thwarted or interrupted. The feeling results from the disparities between what we want and what we find available. So what we are expecting and what exactly we have, that is the main difference, and that difference gives us the frustrations. So for example, when our level of aspiration exceeds our level of achievement, we will likely experience the frustrations. So frustration can range from imperceptible to the powerful, and frustration starts from a feeling of discomforts. So we have to manage these frustration situations, right? So this is all about the behavior-based management, and the different concepts related to the behavior. Thank you. Thank you very much.